Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, this is a story that's being described as a crisis. Is it in fact a crisis?
It is a crisis because we came from very high levels before 2008, where we had what we called a commodity super cycle. And therefore, with the crisis in 2008-2009, halving the prices, and now the price is going further low, it just becomes completely difficult when you've got rising costs, particularly on the energy, because in the gold sector specifically, we're mining too deep. We need electricity to keep the underground very cool so that the workers can continue to produce. With a low price, also rising wages, the sector is really pressed very, very hard. However, there is really an opportunity for South Africa, having had a very bad history between government and the mining sector, that this crisis may result a very good partnership for us to work a pact so that if we can weather the storm, we'll be able to create a long-term viable mining sector which could create jobs, but more importantly, the learning as well that we have had over the years that we need to export to the rest of the continent as the cycle picks up.
All right, so you've talked of quite a number of things, but today the issue is there are a number of people who might lose their jobs. Are you suggesting that these mining houses, a lot of them on the edge, should keep these workers for as long as possible, which is now more of social responsibility than good business sense?
That's a partnership that I think government is asking for. Minister Ramahlobo is saying, can we sustain some jobs, at least for the time being? Because we know that some of those workers feed about 15 to 20 families. Dependents in their households. So it's really asking that. However, we must remember that the cash flow in these companies, what we call liquidity, is also being strained. Therefore, they can only do it for the next 6 to a year. If the cycle doesn't turn, these jobs are going to be lost anyway. That's why we're looking at within Pakisa, what government is working on with the chamber, is Operation Pakisa, where we can really build a platform for long-term development and sustainability of the sector.
The Deputy Minister said a couple of days ago that some mining houses are making money, which means those that aren't, maybe it's mismanagement and that needed to be looked at. Is it that, or really it's more about the commodity prices?
Remember that the smaller miners are the ones that was hit. Your bigger players, the Anglo-Americans, are very, very well diversified. The BHP Billiton, Rio Tinto, those are global companies. That diversified, they could be making some money elsewhere and therefore have some liquidity. The smaller players are the ones that are squeezed because there's no way to go. So it's a real situation. It's not that companies are really trying to put a gun on our government's head.
So it could be that there is a number of companies that can't help government, can't help the workers, and that we will see some job losses.
We'll see some job losses. However, as I said earlier, it's time for us to get together, to work together. With a platform now called Pakisa, the mining Pakisa, and within that, we hope to develop a long-term agenda for the mining sector, a partnership, government, private sector, unions, as well as communities for a thriving mining sector in South Africa.
All right, so we've got a mining charter. We've known what to do for a long, long time, and it seems, and it depends who you talk to, there just hasn't seemed to be the progress towards that area that you're talking about. What's going to be different now?
What is different with the crisis? In terms of crisis, we have to work together. And I think that's what the meeting was about. However, we need to bring in communities. We need to bring in the unions as well. Because the communities, in fact, sit on those assets, but like the Platinum Belt, we know the history there. So we need to bring them very close and really work and develop a new path within Pakisa, a long-term stable path where communities, unions, capitalists and government work together towards a long-term sustainable development of the mining sector. Where the opportunity lies is around beneficiation, around technologies, because this sector has got over 100 years of experience. So we've learned, we've innovated, and we can sell that services to the rest of the world. And that's what we've done. So I hope that brings us to that, so that we can look forward into that.
I'm sure this is a story that we'll continue to chat about in the coming days, but thank you for giving us some insights in the crisis that we're facing. But as you say, perhaps it's an opportunity to find a way forward. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Lumkile Mondi, economist.
Thank you very much.